Barb and Jim run a business that sets up and tests computers. Assume that Barb and Jim can switch between setting up and testing computers at a constant rate. The following table applies. So we're given this information and we have to decipher who has a comparative advantage and who has the absolute advantage. So when first analyzing this table, we're going to cross out this area. It's not important. Instead, we're going to be focusing on the information that was given here. So looking at this information, we can tell who has the absolute advantage by simply seeing who produced the most. So we know that Jim has an absolute advantage in both setting up and testing the computers. But who has the comparative advantage? To figure that out, we're going to take the numbers here and we're going to set up a productions possibility frontier curve. So right here for Barb and Jim, I have the curve set up. On the y-axis will be the computers that the individual sets up. And for Barb, the max that this person can produce is 50. For Jim, it'll be 80. For Barb, the maximum computers that this person can test will be 40 units. And for Jim, it'll be 60 units. Now the next thing to do is to set up two ratios. For here, it'll be 50 to 40. And over here, it'll be 80 to 60. It doesn't matter which order you have it in. You could reverse it. So first, we want to compare the number of computers tested. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide this by 50 so that it becomes 1, and we'll divide this by 50 as well. So here this cancels out and we get 1, and this ratio we can simplify it into 0.8. Over here we'll divide by 80, and this will give us 1, and this will give us 0.75. Now, to determine who has the comparative advantage for testing computers, whichever number we found to be greater, that's the person who has the comparative advantage. So this number is greater than that. So Barb has a comparative advantage for testing computers. Now let's flip the situation. Notice here that in order to compare, we had to turn this into 1. So we're going to reverse the process now. So again, we write 50 to 40. This time we'll divide by 40. You'll notice that an easier way is right here. You can go ahead and flip this because it'll give you the same outcome over here. But nonetheless, over here we get 1, and this one will give us 1.25. Over here, we'll do 80 to 60. Divide 60 on both sides. This will give us 1. And this gives us 1.33. So over here, this is the greater value. So it is Jim who has the comparative advantage for setting up the computers. So let's take a look at our answer choices. Jim has an absolute advantage in both setting up and testing computers, and a comparative advantage in setting up computers. So the answer will be A.